patrol car lights flashed, red and blue against the wet pavement as Marcus Hill slowly pulled his sedan to the curb. He had done nothing wrong, he knew that. The speed limit hadn't been broken. The turn signal had been clean. Still, his hands were already on the steering wheel, exactly where they could be seen. Officer Bradley stepped out of his cruiser with exaggerated confidence. He adjusted his belt and approached the driver's side, eyes narrowing before a word was spoken. "License and registration," he snapped. Marcus complied calmly. He was dressed simply, a dark jacket, plain shirt, no visible insignia. Just another black man driving late at night, Bradley assumed. "What's the reason for the stop, officer?" Marcus asked evenly. Bradley scoffed. "You asking questions now?" He leaned closer, scanning the interior like he expected to find something illegal hiding in plain sight. When he found nothing, his irritation grew. "Step out of the vehicle." Marcus paused for a fraction of a second, then did as instructed. The rain had started to fall, cold and steady. Bradley's partner remained in the cruiser, watching but silent. Bradley circled Marcus slowly, like a predator waiting for a reaction. "You look nervous," Bradley said. "I'm standing in the rain during a traffic stop," Marcus replied. "That seems reasonable." Bradley's jaw tightened. "Watch your tone." Within moments, Marcus was placed in handcuffs. Passers-by slowed, phones subtly raised. Bradley announced loudly, "You're being detained for suspicious behavior." Marcus said nothing. At the station, the mood didn't improve. Bradley filled out paperwork with unnecessary force, throwing glances Marcus's way like he had already won. "You people always think you know the law," Bradley muttered under his breath. Marcus finally spoke. "Officer, I'd like to make a call." Bradley laughed. "To who, your lawyer?" "No," Marcus said calmly. "My supervisor." Bradley rolled his eyes. "Yeah? And where do you work?" Marcus met his gaze for the first time since the arrest. His voice was steady, controlled. "Federal Bureau of Investigation." The room went quiet. Bradley laughed loudly. "That's a good one." Marcus didn't smile. He slid a badge across the metal table. Slowly, deliberately. It wasn't a threat. It was a fact. And in that moment, Officer Bradley realized this night wasn't going to end the way he thought. The laughter drained from Officer Bradley's face as the duty sergeant stepped closer to the table and examined the badge. He didn't touch it at first. He just stared, long enough for the room to feel suddenly very small. "This real?" the sergeant asked quietly. Marcus nodded. "You can verify it through DC field office. Badge numbers on the back." Bradley scoffed again, but the sound was weaker this time. "Anyone can fake a badge." The sergeant ignored him and picked up the desk phone. As minutes passed, Bradley's confidence unraveled. His posture stiffened. His partner, now standing near the doorway, avoided eye contact entirely. When the sergeant hung up, he didn't look at Bradley right away. "Remove the cuffs," he said. Bradley froze. "Sir." "Now." The metal clink echoed loudly as the cuffs were unlocked. Marcus flexed his wrist slowly, never breaking eye contact with the sergeant. "Agent Hill," the sergeant said carefully. "I apologize for the inconvenience. There appears to have been a misunderstanding." Marcus straightened his jacket. With respect, this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was procedure being abused. The sergeant nodded grimly. An hour later, 2 men in suits entered the station. Internal affairs. No sirens, no announcements. Just quiet authority. Bradley tried to explain himself. He talked fast, too fast. "I was just doing my job," he insisted. He was acting suspicious. One of the investigators raised an eyebrow. "Suspicious how?" Bradley hesitated. Marcus watched silently from across the room. He had spent years investigating corruption, profiling, abuse of power. This wasn't new to him. But tonight it was personal. Security footage was pulled. Dashcam audio replayed. Body camera footage showed everything. The tone, the comments, the unnecessary escalation. The room grew heavy. "You used the phrase 'you people,'" the investigator noted. "Explain what you meant by that." Bradley said nothing. By dawn, Bradley's badge and weapon were on the table. He was suspended pending review. As Marcus prepared to leave, the sergeant stopped him. "You could have made this a lot louder," he said. Marcus met his eyes. "I didn't wear that badge to get revenge. I wore it to stop this from happening to the next person." Outside, the rain had stopped. The city was waking up. Marcus took a deep breath, adjusted his coat, and walked away, knowing the real work was only just beginning. The investigation moved faster than anyone expected. Within 48 hours, Internal Affairs expanded the review beyond a single arrest. Complaints surfaced, traffic stops dismissed without cause, civilians intimidated, body cameras mysteriously malfunctioning. Officer Bradley's name appeared more than once. The department issued a public statement. An officer has been placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation into conduct violations. But Marcus knew statements weren't enough. He met with federal prosecutors quietly, not as a victim, but as a witness. The pattern matters, Marcus said, sliding a folder across the table. This wasn't one bad night. It was routine. The evidence spoke clearly. Video footage, audio recordings, prior warnings ignored. Bradley's lawyer argued stress, claimed misunderstanding, tried to separate intent from impact. It didn't work. 3 weeks later, the decision came down. Officer Bradley was terminated. Charges followed: unlawful detention, abuse of authority, falsifying reports. The courtroom was silent as the verdict was read. No cheers, no celebration, just consequence. Outside the courthouse, reporters gathered around Marcus. "Why didn't you identify yourself immediately?" one asked. Marcus paused. "Because the law should protect everyone," he said calmly. "Not just those with badges." The clip went viral. Departments across the state quietly updated training protocols. Body camera enforcement tightened. A civilian oversight committee was reinstated, something activists had demanded for years. Change didn't arrive loudly. It arrived deliberately. Weeks later, Marcus drove the same stretch of road where he'd been stopped. This time, the streetlights felt different. Not safer, but clearer. At the FBI office, his supervisor handed him a case file. "You did good work," she said. Marcus shook his head. "We did." That night, he sat on his balcony, city lights stretching endlessly below. He thought of all the people who never had a badge to slide across a table. All the voices that went unheard. Justice, he knew, wasn't about winning. It was about accountability. And accountability only mattered when it applied to everyone, equally. Marcus closed the file. Tomorrow there would be more work. But tonight there was quiet. And sometimes that was enough.